Hey folks, thanks for checking into the Neutral Zone Hotel. We are an unapologetically left-leaning podcast that explores hockey at its best and worst. My name is Benjamin. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a Montreal Canadiens and Ottawa Charge fan. And I'd like to welcome a couple of my co-workers to the show as well, starting with Madison.
Hi, I'm Madison. Pronouns are she, they. And I am a fan of PWHL Denver. I'm manifesting.
We've also got SJ.
Hi, I am SJ. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a fan of the WHL regular season champion Everett Silvertips.
And no other teams.
I'm taking a break.
All right, so we're going to do a mailbag episode, but I wanted to start by asking the two of you a question. Madison, is there something that you've done in your life that you know, a really proud achievement? A milestone, one might say.
Yeah, I would say there's a few of those in my life.
Okay, I want you to think about one of them. You don't have to tell me. SJ, okay. Same thing. You've got a milestone, really important achievement. Now, let's say that I wanted to have a museum and I wanted to put an icon of your achievement in it. Would you whine about getting it back, or would you let it be in the museum forever? So I'm trying to figure out which of my coworkers are Secret Hughes siblings. That's what's going on here.
Well, none of us are going to the White House, so we've got that going for us.
You both have your front teeth intact?
That's
for
true.
now.
Yes, folks. So one of the interesting pieces of news today that broke is that Jack Hughes has asked for his golden goal puck back from the Hockey Hall of Fame, and I simply cannot think of anything more petty. Yeah. Why would you not want to be on display? You know,
I would put it in a museum, especially because, like, I feel like I personally, if I had an item of like that, I would lose it. Like, it would get lost in like the stuff of my home. So I'm like, yeah, you take care of it. I can go visit it if I want to, you know.
I feel like personally, the only thing I would want is like free admission so that I could visit it whenever I wanted without having to pay. But I mean, also Jack Hughes is a millionaire, so who cares? Like, he can pay the whatever.
He's good.
$20 for entry into the.
He does get an all expenses paid trip to Toronto a couple times a year.
That's true. Does he really need it like in his personal trophy room?
Like, what's he? He's gonna do the same thing with it that they're gonna do with it at the museum, which is have it on display. Except more people can see it in the museum.
Jack, don't you want your puck to be on display beside one from the 1980 Miracle on Ice where millions of people will see it, and every time a Canadian walks by it, they'll feel inadequate and sad? No, I just want to look at it sometimes in my own home, please.
Boo, boo. I'm once again booing Jack Hughes.
You know what it is? He wants to take it to family dinner. He wants to be like, yeah, Quinn's got a Norris, but look, Ma, I got a golden goal. And then she'll be like, absolutely, you're my only son. Luke, who the hell is that?
Can you imagine being Luke Hughes at, like, Thanksgiving dinner?
I mean, he makes more money than Jack. He's got that going for him.
And Quinn. For now, anyway.
Yeah, that's not going to last, but that is funny.
But it's good right now. He can totally hold that over them right this minute.
So, Luke, what's new? I earned $9 million last season. That's nice, honey. What color medal did you get? I didn't get a medal yet, Mom.
I have this yogurt lid that I tied a string onto.
Oh,
I tried to get the wrapper from Brady Kachuk, but he couldn't get his chocolate out. All right, folks, it's a mailbag episode. So we asked for some questions and some people threw some up on our Discord, which you can join at neutralzonehotel.com/Discord. Spoiler alert, you can ask questions anytime and we'll probably answer them. But let's kick off with a question from our friend Crawl. If you could implement one rule change for either hockey league, why would you choose?
Thank you, girl.
I'm really torn whether to answer the question or the typo. Thank you, Crawl. We appreciate your question.
All right. Who's got a rule change?
I have a big one for the NHL, which would be, I'm sure many people have said this, but 3-2-1-0 point system. I hate what they have right now, and it sucks.
Absolutely agree.
I would choose, I think, okay, so the easy answer is getting rid of the division-based playoffs, doing a 1-8 in the NHL, but that's been discussed to death. I think that I would rather do something in the PWHL, maybe around like more consistent discipline and maybe not letting curl just injure people left and right. I don't know. Maybe something around player safety in the PWHL.
You guys, you're fun. I get it, but here's mine, and this is for the NHL and the PWHL.
Okay.
Goaltenders can't ice the puck when the opposing net is empty.
Can't ice the puck.
Yep, which means they can shoot as long as they're shooting on net.
Well, Joey Decord always shoots to score, but he often misses. So
right.
What happens if he ices it?
Well, the referee or the lines person can make the decision. Was this a legitimate attempt at the net, or was this attempt to put it in the corners? So as long as you're putting it close to the net, it's allowed.
Oh, I don't like giving that much power to the lines people.
I think I have to agree with SJ.
Yeah.
I think that you have to establish a rough guideline for how wide it can be. Like maybe the width of the trapezoid behind the net.
That's what I was thinking.
But as long as it's within a reasonable distance, it should be allowed. But if they're just taking advantage, you call icing. And in fact, double it up. If they do it twice in a row intentionally, you can call delay of game.
Okay, so I actually don't think they are allowed to ice the puck. Like, I think they just call icing when they...
Yeah, it's icing.
Yeah, so, like, right now...
They would call icing.
This doesn't feel like they call icing, right? So, like, I don't understand what the rule change is.
They would not call icing on goaltenders who are shooting at empty nets.
Okay, so what would they have? What would they call instead?
They wouldn't call anything. They would allow goaltenders to shoot on empty nets. I want to encourage more goalie goals.
Oh, wow. I totally misunderstood what you were saying.
Yes. In this case, signed, sealed, delivered. More goalie goals is something that brings me such joy. So it's totally illegal for goalies to shoot on the empty net.
Exactly. And as long as it's a reasonable shot attempt. If they can't like deliberately just put it in the corner, but if you're trying to get it in that open net, it doesn't ice the puck. I want to encourage the shot. And I want to encourage goalies to step out of their net, collect that puck and fire it up ice. And I think that actually, because they're going to miss or they're going to have weird bounces, it's going to mean a lot of goalies diving back into their own net as well.
Yes.
Which is also fun for me.
This would definitely encourage goalies to be even more out of position than they tend to be now. So shenanigans would certainly ensue.
We love shenanigans.
We
it's
do.
a pro shenanigans podcast.
I agree.
Yeah, that's why I thought that was a fun rule, and I was very shocked when you weren't on board. But
Yeah, well, we didn't get what you were.
We
no, I must have done it.
That was a terrible explanation. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Next question. This is coming from our friend Jordan. You are in charge of this year's expansion, but you cannot pick any city that has had a takeover game. Which 4 cities are you picking?
Let me pull up the list of all the places. I saw this question and I still did not prepare.
I'm going to say it's including any takeover games that have yet to happen this season, but that are going to happen. So that takes like Calgary off the list.
I would pick a California city.
Yes.
LA or San Diego.
San Diego would be fun because they don't have an NHL team. They only have.
You mean the Sharks?
Oh, that's San Francisco. San Jose.
No, it's not. Oh, it is San Jose. God.
I was like, am I losing my mind? I was like, no, San Diego has the Gulls, so they have an AHL team, but they don't have so I think San Diego would actually be really fun.
It would be fun. They'd probably pick San Jose, though.
That is what they would choose, correct.
Okay. So a California team, though, I definitely think would be one of the 4. I kind of want to say just like mostly southern cities. So maybe a Florida team, or
I don't think Florida deserves good things, so I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
I mean, that's I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. If not Florida, maybe Atlanta.
Atlanta would be fun.
Yeah. Houston or Atlanta, but again, Texas, they don't deserve good things.
I think another team in the central time zone would be good, but I'm trying to think if there are literally any cities in the central time zone other than Chicago that actually matter.
I mean, yeah, St. Louis had a takeover game.
Yeah, that haven't had takeover games.
Yeah, so
maybe Oklahoma City?
No. God, no.
I don't know. That's the only city I can find. Because, I don't really want to give Nebraska anything either.
They've done one in Dallas. No. Well, nobody lives in Nebraska.
We're not putting a professional hockey team in Nebraska.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, they've done all the central cities.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there aren't that many to begin with, so there's that.
Not any really big ones.
New
there's
Orleans.
DFW. New Orleans is on the Eastern time zone.
Is it?
I believe
because is Wikipedia lying to me?
Oh, maybe it's on Central. It's right on the edge.
It would be on the edge. Yes, New Orleans is in Central time zone.
Okay.
We have found one big city in the Central that hasn't had a takeover game.
New Orleans isn't even that big anymore.
No.
You want to hear mine?
Yes,
No,
please.
Not at all. What?
Philadelphia.
Is that in the... Okay, not... All right.
Kansas
Sure.
City. Houston.
They have an ECHL team in Kansas City. I don't think they have a rink.
They've wanted an NHL team for a while. They have a rink that's NHL ready.
Interesting.
And Portland.
Portland would be good.
Yeah, Portland would be nice based on what they already have, just to have something in that area.
Yeah.
Houston, I hate, so I can't agree with that, but I understand the logic.
Okay.
You can go to
here's
San
what we got.
Antonio or El Paso if you want. I don't care.
Okay, so a
I just don't like
California
Texas.
team, San Jose or LA, Philadelphia, Kansas City. Okay, I think we resolved that question.
Okay, so the next question we have. Which superhero would be the best hockey player? You can't say Iceman.
Emma Frost. That's allowed, right?
Sure.
I'm not the arbiter of these things. The wrong Benjamin.
Do you think Superman can ice skate?
I mean, I feel like he's probably skated on like a lake or something. That just seems like something he would have participated in based on his.
He
Growing up in
does like
Kansas?
he does like live full time in the Arctic.
That's true.
Does
He
he?
would.
I
You're right.
feel like that's more of a vacation home.
I feel like Batman is the one who, like, socioeconomically would be the most likely to play hockey.
That's a strong point. He probably knows how.
Yeah, I feel like he at least took some lessons on skating in his childhood.
If Gotham City had an NHL team, what would they name it?
I think there is an official Gotham hockey team.
Well, now we have to know.
The Gotham City Giants.
Oh,
That's a
I'm also
terrible
seeing Gotham
name.
City Knights.
Well, there's quite a few apparently.
Yeah.
There's also the Gotham City Blades and the
That's
Goliaths.
a good one.
They got more hockey teams in New York City. What's going on?
This is crazy.
Wow.
Who knew Gotham liked hockey so much?
My answer is Mr. Freeze because we've got the documentary film Batman and Robin where they skate. But Batman skates in that too, so
Oh.
they click their heels together and they get skates.
It's all flooding
That sounds
back.
very cool.
It was an interesting movie.
I have not seen it.
I don't know whether to tell you to see it or not. I feel like see it, but with like,
Take an edible.
yeah. Yeah. If that's a thing you're into.
It's perfectly
yeah.
legal here in the great state of Colorado, so.
Mhm.
I live in Canada. I'm allowed to suggest these things. If you live in the United States and are not in a state where it's legal, ignore me.
Yeah, it's a weird movie.
It's very Joel Schumacher.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Casual Friday wants to know, who are you excited to watch when your team isn't playing and why?
My beloved Sidney Crosby. But I don't know if that counts because the
Sure.
Penguins are like my secondary team, but I mean, they're not like my main team.
I mean, are they your secondary team because of Sidney Crosby?
They are my secondary team because penguins are my favorite animal.
That's a great reason to pick a secondary
Yeah.
team. Really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I usually pick whichever team currently has like turned the knob towards offense and away from defense. So they're just like absolutely chaotic with goal scoring on either side. This is one of the things I think that makes the Oilers interesting to watch historically. And by historically, I mean the last 5 years. But yeah, and then it's just kind of like teams that have like interesting players to watch. So I know like the Sharks aren't good, but like Celebrini is so interesting to watch that it's always worth tuning into a Sharks game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Sharkies are going to be my answer as well. And I can always watch Sidney Crosby play the game of hockey.
He's just so. I think he's just like a very fun player to watch, more so than like I don't know, like Connor McDavid's masterful, of course, but there's just something about how much fun Sid seems to have when he plays hockey that makes it a little more charming to me.
Connor McDavid does look like he is being tortured at all times.
Yeah. Like, he's obviously very good, but and then, like, Nathan McKinnon just looks like he's trying to kill everything on the ice, which I enjoy, but also I'm an Avs fan, so I can't say him anyway.
He is fun to watch. He does seem to attack the ice with his skates.
Yes.
All right. If you could bring back a team's old jersey, which one would you choose?
Anaheim Ducks. Bring back the Mighty Ducks jerseys.
Oh, the Mighty Ducks jersey is so good. The classic purple and green.
Those colors, like, the fact that they abandoned those colors is just, like, cruel and unusual to me. Like, they were so unique and cool, and they look fabulous. Like, the orange sucks.
Yeah, I hate the orange. When they had the webbed foot logo, it's just like, you're a joke. You're an absolute joke when you wear the webbed foot logo. No one gives a shit about that. Get that Wild Wing mask on there. He rocks.
Hell yeah, I agree.
I firmly believe that more teams should wear purple.
Well, then you will like my first answer, which is the Los Angeles Kings should wear purple full time.
I agree. Strongly agree. The Kings
Those purple jerseys are so cool.
And my other answer is the Tampa Bay Lightning should go back to their like 1999 through 2005 kit.
What is this? Did they have different colors then?
It's got gray accents, and it's not got like the Bolts logo. It's got the old school word mark with the lightning bolt in it. I think it's a very solid, like, it just looks good.
Okay. I really want Tampa to pick different colors.
Well, that's the other reason why, is getting away from the blue.
It drives me absolutely bananas that they have the exact same colors as the Leafs.
Strange.
And I just simply do not understand why the Leafs allowed it. It's so confusing, and I hate every time they play each other, because you don't know who is on which team. The same. Oh.
Okay. Heather asks, this is a story. 9 years ago, I met Tiger Williams before an LA Kings game and told him you were my parents' favorite player when they would go to games in the 80s at the Forum. He responded to me saying, your parents must not be very bright. What is your funniest current or former player interaction that you've ever had?
I have a great answer to this. I work at the University of Denver, and I was in a hallway full of students for commencement, and a very confused Sam Girard walked down the hallway, made eye contact with me, and turned right back around. I don't know what was going on, but I was like, can't believe I just saw Sam Girard in the hallway. And then I told my boss, and he was like, oh, he must have, like, forgot that there was no practice today. Because we were using the rink for commencement ceremony.
How can I skate in these conditions? They've covered over the whole ice. It's full of students.
In caps and gowns.
Wow.
Could have been worse. He could have come out there in actual gear.
Yeah, he was just in like shorts and a t-shirt, but he like literally looked so confused. And I was also like probably looked confused because I was like, is that Sam Girard?
Damn, go home.
SJ, have you met a player in a weird or funny circumstance?
I have never met any players.
I haven't met many, but when I met Emmerich Mashmeyer at a season ticket holder event in Ottawa's first year, I forgot how to work my phone. I'm not a prodigious selfie taker. So I said, can we have a selfie? And she said, of course. And she got right in, no problem. And then I promptly took a picture of the other side of the room. And then she said, probably want to take a picture of us. Yeah.
I'm sure she was very diplomatic.
She was very kind. She's a very lovely woman by all accounts, certainly with my brief experience. And I hope that I don't do the same thing when I go to the meet and greet with Jenner next week.
Oh, man, you're getting a meet and greet?
Technically, my dad's Ford dealership is getting a meet and greet.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's a couple players from the Senators, Drake, someone.
Some guy.
Rebecca Leslie, Gwyneth Phillips, and Brianne Jenner.
Cool. Sick.
Oh, Captain, my captain.
Well, maybe you might want to practice taking some selfies ahead of time.
Yeah. My poor phone.
So funny.
All right, we're going to ask one more question, folks. What has been your favorite live game experience, or two? What about them stood out? Regale us with tales of why live hockey is awesome.
I think it was probably the Torrent opening day. So the first Torrent game ever in history. The rink was sold really well, so it wasn't quite full, but it was very close. The crowd was so hype. We hadn't sold Jesse Eldridge for a bag of pucks yet.
She's not bitter though.
I don't. Nobody's bitter. Just confused. So yeah, it was just great. It was like everybody was so excited to be there. Nobody really had like preconceptions, or everyone was just kind of excited. There was no bitter history. It was just like a totally positive experience, and everybody sang and everybody did the chants and everybody clapped, and I can't even remember if we won that game. I don't think we did, but nobody cared. Like everybody was still really excited about it. Like it didn't even seem to matter that they didn't win. Yeah. I think that was the best one.
Mine would be the year after I graduated college. I moved back in with my parents for a year to save up before I moved to Los Angeles, and the Avs had been historically bad the season before. That was the 48-point season. And so they were really season tickets. They had a deal where you could get 2 seats at the very, very top of Ball Arena to every game for $1,000 total. Wow. And I was like, I don't have $1,000, but if you go halvesies on this with me to my parents, I would really this would be really cool, because at the time I didn't think I would ever move back to Colorado. So I was like, this would be my only chance to have season tickets to the Avs. And so I talked them into it, and we did it, and I went to almost every game that season, sold the tickets to the games I didn't, and it looked like we might actually go to the playoffs, and I was at that very last game, the fan appreciation game, where if they won in regulation over the St. Louis Blues, they went to the playoffs, otherwise the Blues were going. And when Landy got the goal that pretty much sealed the deal, and he was crying on the ice, and McKinnon and Rantanen dogpiled him on the ice, and I was crying in the stands, and it was really magical. I was around all the people I'd been around for the whole season, and we were all so excited, and it's our first time going to the playoffs in a while, and it was just a really cool moment for me, and just a reminder of how cool hockey can be as a community builder and the excitement of sports.
First of all, I want to shout out the random Halifax Mooseheads game I attended in 2010 or 11, where Nate McKinnon scored 4 points. Just blew out whatever team they were facing, blew them out, and I got to see someone really special. That was really cool. first Ottawa Charge game, I took my mom, who is, she's an old school second wave style feminist. And I put her in a building full of women, and I told her, look, take a moment, this is something that wasn't possible when you were a kid, and we've made it possible. And I think that's pretty cool. I want to shout out the incredible feeling when the Charge eliminated the Victoire last season in the playoffs, and what it was like to celebrate with those people you hang out with at every game. Big shout out to the ladies who sit behind me, Nicole, Marissa, and other Nicole. They make going to hockey games fun, even more fun than it would be normal. The Vinisheva Saulnier fight, another highlight. But the one that comes to mind for me was going to the Bell Center last year with my buddy SJ and our friend Andrew, where we sat at the very, very, very top of this very, very large building.
They were like ants.
And we got to see not only a really fun crowd experience, but a hell of a game where we got to watch like one of the up and coming teams in the NHL in the Habs and someone who's going to win Hart trophies in Macklin Celebrini. We got to watch them duel it out. And the ending was really cool. It was an incredible goal by Cole Caulfield. He just completely undressed Macklin Celebrini. Just being able to be in that moment and be there in a really cool season with people I really care about.
Aww.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what these things are about? Is collective sadness and collective joy with the people that you care about. So, and that might not be people that you show up caring about, but it's an instant community. Mm-hmm. Everyone who's in that building pretty much is going to be there. You have something in common with them. You're guaranteed. And especially with the PWHL, I don't have to worry about someone secretly turning out to be a shithead. I don't have to worry about the young kids in front of me or the old couple beside me or the lovely lesbian pair behind me turning out to be Nazis. Mm-hmm. I think that is something that I really love, especially with the P-dubs. But I had a great time in Montreal last year. And I am looking forward to the next time we get to go to a hockey game together, SJ, because we've already planned it, and I'm excited for it to happen.
Hell yeah.
Next year in Guelph?
Guelph. We're going to go to the Memorial Cup next year.
Oh, sick. That'll be so fun.
Should be a great time.
Yeah. And they filmed part of Heated Rivalry in that rink.
Hell yeah.
It's like a little pilgrimage.
Small anecdote at the PWHL takeover game this weekend, which was my sister's first PWHL game, and she was there with her girlfriend, and I made them wear Rosanov and Hollander jerseys that I made them wear them. But the first face-off of the game, my sister turns to me and goes, "It's just like Heated Rivalry."
Excellent. It does not get better.
Folks, thanks to everyone who took the time to send in some questions. It's always fun to answer them. We'll do another mailbag episode sometime, but if you are interested in hanging out with us, jump on our Discord, neutralzonehotel.com/Discord. We'd love to have you. It is an excellent space full of excellent people. And we are going to pitch over to us from another time, do the next segment in our Alan Eagleson series, second last one. So hopefully you enjoy that as well. Hey, folks. Thanks for popping in. This is part 6 of our series on Alan Eagleson, hockey's greatest bastard. I'm joined by SJ.
Hello.
Emily.
Hey.
And Madison.
Hello.
So when we last spoke, we talked about Alan Eagleson and the board ad scheme and how he eventually ended up going to prison, or what he eventually ended up going to prison for. But today we are going to jump into another area where Eagleson caused significant, and I would say probably the most trauma amongst the actual players. So obviously he screwed them for years as the head of the union and as an agent. But this is literally the physical harm. So we're going to talk about injuries and insurance.
Oh, God.
So pensions, of course, are supposed to take care of a player after their career ends to help them live dignified later lives after giving up their younger years of potential education and career building to hockey. But insurance was there to provide for a player who lost their health in a dramatic fashion during, the game. But Eagleson's NHLPA was not particularly interested in helping some players with their grievances and claims. I want to warn you now, we are going to talk a little bit about a few pretty serious injuries. We're not going to get into like super deep detail, but just so people are aware. We're going to start with the story of Jim Harrison. He was a tough guy center who played for several NHL and WHA teams during the 70s. He actually set the record that still stands for points in a game with 10 points, 3 goals, 7 assists. But when he joined the Chicago Blackhawks, his back was in rough shape. Chicago's team doctor, Louis Kolb, told Harrison he would give him a nerve block, but instead just gave Harrison a placebo.
Oh, no.
Because, you got to see if he's faking his pain.
Oh, my God.
What?
Yeah. So it turns out he wasn't faking his back pain. After a few returns, they did a back surgery and removed a crushed disc.
Oh, God.
However, the surgery didn't alleviate the pain. It made it much worse.
Oh, no.
Bob Pulford, who we've heard about a lot in this, and Eagleson's old buddy, was the coach of the Blackhawks at the time, and he refused to accept that Harrison was badly injured. Harrison spent a lot of time with Russ Conway and Houston Schultz, who wrote the Eagleson book. And I'm going to give you a quote from him here. "One day I phoned the trainer at noon and said, I've just taken a couple of Valium and I don't think I can play tonight. Tell Pulford I'll come down for the game and have a whirlpool and dress for appearance." That night, while Harrison was having his whirlpool, Pulford came in and said he needed me to play just because sitting on the bench meant a lot to the hockey team. I said I'd do it, reluctantly, because I was in such pain I couldn't even bend over to tie my skates. I dressed and maybe stepped onto the ice once. After the game, I had a treatment again, took more medication, and went home. The next day, Pulford called me in saying I'd been put on waivers the week before. I had to go to the minors. I said, "You got to be kidding me. You know I can't even walk." He says, "There's nothing wrong with you." He said I'd played with a bad back all my life, so what difference did it make now? He said I could go rot in hell.
I'm kind of speechless. That's horrifying.
Yeah, that's
just cruel in like a way I can't even fathom.
So, recognizing his lack of health, Harrison refused to report to Chicago's minor league affiliate in Moncton, New Brunswick. Harrison's agent, who happened to be Robert Alan Eagleson, recommended he get a second opinion from Eagleson's friend, Team Canada doctor Charles Bull. Bull prescribed Motrin and recommended refraining from skating. As a result, Harrison was suspended without pay, and Bob Pulford was furious. Harrison asked his agent to file a grievance against Pulford, but unfortunately, as we know, Pulford's agent, as a coach, his agent was also Alan Eagleson.
my God.
Jesus.
The grievance against Pulford had to be negotiated solely by NHL President John Ziegler, Alan Eagleson's friend, who owned houses beside Alan Eagleson in Florida. There was a hearing. Eagleson yelled at Harrison to shut up after Bob Pulford insisted that Harrison was fine to play hockey. Then Harrison was asked to leave the room. When Eagleson came out, he told Harrison that Ziegler's ruling was that Harrison had to report to Moncton. Eagle then asked Harrison to shake hands with Pulford and Ziegler before he left. 10 years later, Harrison would learn from Bobby Orr, who was in the room, that Ziegler hadn't ruled at all. Eagleson and Pulford had worked out a deal that just gave Bob Pulford what he wanted.
What the fuck?
Unsurprisingly, Harrison, as a hockey player, tried in Moncton, but he got benched. He could not skate, and he got addicted to painkillers and could barely walk. Eagleson sent Harrison back to Bull, that's Team Canada Dr. Charles Bull, who wrote in his report to Eagleson and Pulford, in essence, he has no back pain now, but he also finds it hard to lie down due to discomfort in his leg. He says it's like a burning throughout his leg, really. It could take 3 years to come back. So this was sent to Eddie Johnston of the Blackhawks and Alan Eagleson, but Harrison did not see this report until years later. Harrison then met with Dr. Kolb again and recalled, he made a comment to me that maybe the whole basis of this, the injury and back pain, is that Mr. Pulford and I just don't get along, Kolb said in his report, adding that Harrison had told a nurse he was interested in going on vacation and wanted a week or two off to go hunting. Harrison said that was a complete lie. That's the kind of thing Pulford wanted from Dr. Kolb, so it would look like I'm faking. I've had 3 back operations and I'm faking. What did I do? Dream up those operations? Put the scars in my back myself? Dr. Kolb knew my back was screwed up. Pulford knew too, but he didn't want me to get my disability.
I don't understand why they would.
They didn't want to pay him.
Is it money? But how is the disability insurance money out of their pocket?
I will explain. It is a long and convoluted trail. And we don't know all the details, but we can make some reasonable assumptions. But the long and the short of it is that Eagleson was getting kickbacks and benefits from his association with their insurance company.
Oh, no.
Of course he was.
How could you make insurance more evil? This man found a way.
Was there a point where Harrison realized that Eagleson was screwing him directly, and how long did that take? Because it kind of sounds like he was basically literally stabbing him in the back multiple times over and over in a very obvious way. And did at no point he go, wait a minute, maybe Eagleson's not on my side here. Maybe I need to find somebody who is.
So that's the next piece here. So Harrison tried a 3-game comeback with the Oilers, but then decided to end his career and apply for his disability insurance, which from his understanding of how it worked, was $175,000. And remember, in 1978.
That's good money.
It's not bad, right? He was sent to the Mayo Clinic for a second opinion. Doctors Kolb and Bull refused to forward his medical records to the Mayo Clinic, and Harrison paid for them out of his own pocket.
Oh, my God.
That seems like it should be illegal, but I don't know. The 70s was a different time, maybe.
Eventually, the NHL refused to pay out the insurance claim, calling the back problems a pre-existing condition from before 1978. Harrison sued, but would only ever get $10,000 of the money, which didn't cover his legal bills. At this point, Alan Eagleson, his agent and the head of his union, stopped returning his calls. Ross Conway posited that the reason for Eagleson's reluctance stemmed from the botched disc removal. And this is a quote from Game Misconduct here. Bull's report indicated that Harrison had suffered inadvertent damage during surgery. This was a potential landmine. Such liability was specifically excluded in the NHL and NHLPA career-ending disability coverages. The Blackhawks could have been on the hook for damages. Harrison was refused access to his own medical records at the time. Bull's report was known only to Eagleson, the head of the union. If Eagleson went to bat for his disabled client, he might put the Blackhawks in financial jeopardy. Eagleson never forwarded the report to Harrison.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
So we could not have the Blackhawks if only people had done the right thing.
I mean, they probably would have survived the lawsuit, but Bill Wirtz and Alan Eagleson were tight. They were super tight. Remember, and Madison, you missed this part, but Alan Eagleson essentially delivered Bobby Orr to the Blackhawks on a platter. And as a result, Bobby Orr now owns 0% of the Boston Bruins when they had offered him 18.5% of the Boston Bruins to stay. So this is a guy who is in the tank for Bob Pulford and Bill Wirtz, and Jim Harrison's life was, his quality of life was not relevant.
It's just unspeakably evil.
Yeah. I've been saying this whole time that I think the insurance stuff is the most evil, which is a lot, but there's more here.
Yeah.
I mean, the money laundering is shitty, but like this is directly ruining people's lives. This is horrific.
Yeah. There are a lot of similar incidents listed in Game Misconduct, which is the definitive work on the insurance. We're going to go through a few of them, but not all, because this is a full chapter in that book. Ed Kia received severe brain damage while playing for St. Louis's farm team when his head was slammed into the boards. Kia survived the trepanning required to relieve pressure in his skull, but ended up badly disabled. His wife Jennifer was promised that $175,000 in insurance from the NHL and NHLPA from the Blues players rep, but never heard from either the league or the PA. Eventually, she got a lawyer to write to Eagleson, who responded that he had worked to get her $75,000, but didn't like that she was making trouble. The $100,000 to come from the NHL was canceled because Ed Kia was on a one-way contract on a conditioning stint, but was in the minors, so didn't count as playing in the NHL when his head was smashed in. This was apparently a change to the insurance contract, but members of the Blues at the time report that nobody ever told them about it, the league or the PA. Conway reports that the conditions on the NHL and NHLPA insurance deals were in fact the same. So they had the NHLPA deal and the NHL deal had the same clauses, which meant there shouldn't be payout from one without the other. Eventually, Jennifer Kia got paid $20,000 by the NHL. Ralston Purina, who owned the Blues at the time, and of course the sale of the St. Louis Blues is a story for another day. It is deeply comical, but Ralston Purina, the dog food company, actually paid her $72,000 of the missing $80,000 when they sold the team. So they did the right thing in terms of actually putting some money on for her to take care of a guy who is very badly disabled. Blair Chapman injured his back, also playing for St. Louis. He was sent to the minor leagues, where he aggravated the injury. He eventually had disc surgery, played a few more games in the minors, and ended his career. Ziegler ruled he was only owed $65,000 of his contract for the year, not the full balance. He applied for $175,000 in injury insurance and was rejected due to a rule that said if you play 20 games, your count is cured from an injury. That rule did not.
Stop.
Yep. So they were counting minor league games. But more heinously, that policy actually wasn't in the policy at the time. They didn't add it for 2 more years.
What?
Oh, so they just made up a policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I hate these people. They're just, because I mean, I know Alan Eagleson is like the mastermind, but like other people were very much like aiding and abetting him in these acts of evil.
So there's a part of the story I wasn't able to really uncover, and it's around how the NHL runs and still runs their own insurance company that is called, and I kid you not, ICE.
God.
And it is run out of, I think, the Bahamas, and it's very sketchy, and I couldn't find a lot, and Conway couldn't find a lot, but very clearly working in cahoots with Alan Eagleson's NHLPA insurer, almost certainly run by this, like both insurance groups are almost certainly run by the same insurer during the 70s and 80s.
And it's still sketchy, you're saying?
Well, they still use ICE, but there are much stronger protections in the CBA around insurance.
Oh man, all of this is why I get such a shitty feeling whenever we hear that some player has filed a grievance against the NHL for something or other. And then like, it just like, you either never hear about it again, or like 2 months later, it's like, oh, they settled. And you're like, there's no details. Nobody ever looks into it. Nobody's ever like, was it a fair resolution, or did they like absolutely stab these people in the back, and we just are never going to know, because none of the NHL insiders or the people who could even get that information give a shit. They're all there. They all exist exclusively to protect the league.
They also, maybe not most, but a good chunk of settlements come with an NDA. So not only is it like hard to know what happened, sometimes nobody can know what happened in that room, which is, I don't know. I think NDAs suck.
Yeah, it should be illegal.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do a better job today with Marty Walsh in charge of the union, an actual union guy. But the Alan Eagleson's PA was designed for the purpose of insulating his friends who were the owners and president of the NHL. We're going to go over a few more of these here. So I want to talk about Ian Turnbull, who was also injured in the minor. He was originally denied his insurance, including a supplemental $200,000 sold to him through the PA. Eagleson refused to help him, saying that Eagleson had no influence over the insurance company. Ian Turnbull hired Dallas lawyer Ron Roberts, who happened to be John Ziegler's college buddy, to go after his insurance. He got $275,000 from the NHLPA at the cost of $50,000, but didn't go for the $100,000 from the NHL because of the lawyer's fees. Pierre LaRouche's hip gave out in 1988. He was over 30 and so was only entitled to $30,000 in insurance. The NHL, his claim was denied and the NHLPA refused to help. Louis Slyer's quad blew out in a game. His agent, Steve Fryer, tried to get him his $150,000 in insurance. Fryer believes the only reason that Slayer got a payout was that Fryer personally knew someone at Lloyd's of London where the insurance exchange happened. Trevor Johansson's career was cut short at 5 years following a series of knee surgeries, the first performed by Dr. Charles Bull. Johansson knew Marvin Goldblatt personally before going pro. And remember, Marvin Goldblatt is Eagleson's accountant and the number one guy in his org who eventually turned state's evidence on Eagleson. He stopped in to see Goldblatt and Eagleson to help with his insurance. Nothing happened. He hired Ron Roberts and got $325,000 in payouts. Conway finds another dozen examples from the 80s about these players being denied legitimate insurance claims. And these examples are very clear. The NHL was refusing to get players help. Sometimes they were given nonsense reasons, like having missed a filing deadline they were not aware existed. Sometimes that they had been diagnosed with a degenerative disease. And sometimes it was because the player had done something what they had always tried to do, which is try to return from injury. Pat Quinn didn't get his career-ending insurance until he hired a former federal prosecutor to write an indictment-style letter to the insurers.
Good Lord.
Which deeply scared them, for reference. There's a lot of memos that went back and forth, scared the shit out of them.
Good. They should be scared.
Now, sometimes with Andre Savard, Eagleson would charge the player for help them collect their insurance payouts. Eagleson told Savard the expenses were for hiring an outside company. The outside company that was hired was Raycon Consulting.
Of course it was.
Yes.
The earbuds?
No, the Alan Eagleson company.
I'm kidding.
But yes.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
As a reminder, folks, Raycon, the R-A-E in Ray stands for Robert Alan Eagleson. The Con stands for consulting, so it's Robert Alan Eagleson Consulting. Perhaps worth noting, when Dedrick Clayton sat in on a day in Alan Eagleson's life in 1979, Eagleson was upset at Andre Savard for not being a member of the NHLPA. What a coincidence. Mike Gillis's career ended due to a badly broken leg. Eagleson was eager to help him. Gillis was an Eagleson client. Gillis was covered for $275,000 in insurance and received $233,000 of it, the remainder being billed to another Eagleson company, Kingsmar Holdings, for expenses such as lawyers and accountants.
But even being an Eagleson client was no guarantee you'd actually get any help.
Yeah.
No, he had to be a client that he liked.
Yeah.
So Conway...
Can be a troublesome client.
You're not wrong. Conway later uncovered a fax to the insurer, Crawley Warren, where Eagleson reminded the insurer that he had helped them save money on players like Andre Savard and former Flyer Bill Barber so that he could get a larger payout from Mike Gillis, presumably because he knew he could take a larger percentage.
Oh, my God.
Dale Talon, when his career ended, he, as an Eagleson client, got his full payout, less a $5,000 collection fee retained by Crawley Warren partner Bernard Warren.
Mm-hmm.
So Bernard Warren is a guy who is big. He's Eagleson's insurance guy. So when Bob Daly broke his ankle and ended his career, Eagleson advised Daly that the best way to get his insurance claim handled would be for Mr. Warren to fly in and see him personally. Daly was charged $5,000 against his insurance payout for the meeting. Glenn Sharpley, who had been slashed in the face and lost vision in an eye, had to pay $15,000 to meet Mr. Warren. Warren would later deny those trips had been paid for by Eagleson to settle claims. He said his only relationship with Eagleson was via the NHLPA's insurance business. So what was the link here? Before Crawley Warren became the insurer, the NHLPA's insurance was handled by Robert Bradshaw. Bradshaw used to put all the insurance with a company owned by the Norris family, who owned at that time the Red Wings, until 1974 when it switched to St. Paul Fire and Marine, which had links to the Wirtz family, who owned the Blackhawks. Bradshaw noted that Eagleson was very hands-on whenever a player made a claim and that he was personally very demanding. For example, he would use Bradshaw's company-owned New York apartment and limo. Eventually, he would just show up and start using them without even informing Bradshaw. Bradshaw believed his insurance company was dumped because he refused to give Eagleson more perks. Bill Sutton, who replaced Bradshaw, was one of the recipients of Eagleson's previously documented largesse at the expense of the NHLPA, getting tee times and Leaf tickets paid for by the PA. Sutton was paid by the NHLPA for consulting $20,000. His job was to go to London and place the NHLPA's business via Crawley Warren at Lloyd's Insurance Exchange. And it was the relationship with Bernard Warren that was the most suspect. Ross Conway hired an English sports reporter called Vic Batchelder, which is the most British name I can think of.
That is pretty good.
He discovered that Bernard Warren held a joint lease on a London apartment, and we've referenced this apartment before, near Buckingham Palace. The leasehold, he was the guarantor. So it's a complex relationship, but basically there's four people on the lease. There's the actual person who owns it, which is a factor for, I believe in this case, the royal family. There is the guarantor of that relationship, a British person who has to sign, and then Allison Holdings, an Eagleson company in this case. So Warren was co-signed on a London apartment that Alan Eagleson famously used. He exploited Air Canada gift cards or gift certificates and gift vouchers to be able to attend. He went to Wimbledon. He bought himself Bohemian Crystal. All of these things, Warren was the one enabling it in London. He was the big guy there. So what did Bernard Warren get for his relationship with Eagleson, right? What was in it for him? Eagleson's close political relationships in Canada we can't prove it, but probably helped grease the wheels for a new company called Voyageur Travel Insurance, operated in Canada by Crawley Warren. This is fun. Air Canada hired, which at the time was a government-run business, hired Voyageur to run their travel insurance program. This was a single source bid. No other bids were considered, even though they could have been easily undercut.
Ooh.
By this point in time, Eagleson was massively connected, including to Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, having worked on Brian Mulroney's first and unsuccessful leadership campaign. Voyageur made money, more than £5 million a year in its first year. Here's the business model. Air Canada customers would be sold travel insurance. When they needed to pay out, Voyager would front the money for their medical needs, which was usually in the United States. So, you go down to Florida, break your leg, you got to go to the American hospital. They charge you another leg and an arm. Voyager pays the money. They would then bill Canada's public health care system for the expense. They would get almost all of their money back, which meant that they only had a small overhead of administrative fees, and the profit was astronomical.
Jesus.
That's wild.
OHIP, after 5 years, OHIP is the Ontario Health Public System. They closed the loophole that allowed Voyager to bill them in this way. Crowley Warren then sold the business to the Royal Bank of Canada for £6 million. In the 5 years they operated, they probably brought in almost £45 million plus the sale cost.
Holy crap.
And when you convert that into dollars, even American dollars in the 80s, that is well over $100 million.
Yeah, that's astronomical.
So that's what Crowley Warren got out of their relationship with Alan Eagleson. So this is Eagleson at his height of his power. He was vastly connected politically, socially, and in business. He loved to give people gifts. Politicians would get tickets to hockey games and Hockey Canada-themed gifts as a routine matter. He gave away tickets to the Calgary Olympics in 1988, and he made the NHLPA pay to host an annual party for Premier of Ontario Bill Davis, who was an Eagleson political ally. We talked about this previously, but he would expense things like Wimbledon tickets, watches, and Bohemian Crystal, and he would build goodie bags so you would be expected if you were doing business with Al Eagleson. You would be expected to provide things he could put into goodie bags for his wealthy friends, like clothier slips or Air Canada vouchers or tea times or memberships at gyms, and then he could just give those to his friends. But he remained a deeply vulgar person. At his Christmas parties, he would interrogate the wives of his partners and clients. A woman would go to the bathroom and he'd go, "Where the fuck do you think you're going? Are you going to go take a piss? A crap? Hey, can I come with you?" This is a direct quote. He would then, and when they came back, he would inquire about their post-relief hygiene to the raucous laughter of the men at the party. Over the years, that would mean that less women, wives attended.
Yeah. That is what would happen. They would stop coming.
Yeah. That's just like bizarre. That's not like I would have expected like misogynist humor for sure, but that's like weird.
Weird. Yeah. Also, clearly none of his friends liked their wives, because I think if you talked about most people's wives like that, they'd be like, "Actually, we're not coming to your party anymore, bud."
I mean, these are players and rich politicians.
Yeah,
so.
that's
a lot
fair.
of rich men don't like their wives.
They're just things.
That's
you can get a new one. Like
Yep.
you can, if you know Al Eagleson, it'll hook you up with some Bohemian Crystal, right? I've said this before, and I think the vulgarity of it, the historical figure Al Eagleson reminds me the most of is Lyndon Johnson, which seems crazy at first, but both of them they skilled at finding systems that were vulnerable to exploitation in which they could accrue personal power. Johnson's very famous for that, and they're also very similar in that they like to execute physical and mental dominance over others. Johnson, a very large man, he would make his people attend him while he was defecating or urinating. He would whip out his dick whenever he wanted, to show off how big it was. And I have to mention, because every time this comes up, he called his cock jumbo, right? But
Oh, Jesus.
his biographer very carefully does not say whether or not it's large, and it's strongly hinted that he just acts like it's big, like that he has a big hog. And people have to accept that because he's Lyndon Johnson. And that's, to me, that's
you
very...
can't be like, "Actually, Mr. President."
let me show you a big dick, Mr. President. but it's very similar to that. He forces people to accept his, like, he hits people, he threatens them, he yells at them, he insults their intelligence. He's doing these with physically large, strong hockey players. He goes after their wives, he ridicules them, he uses scatological humor to break them down. It's a very similar way of building this abusive power structure where he's the one who's superior. And it's very, very similar. Like I said, it seems crazy, but they are actually, those two guys have a ton in common. It's just that Alan Eagleson stole a bunch of money and fucked over a lot of players. And at the end of the day, Lyndon Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act. So, you know, there's a hierarchy here.
The overall impact of their lives makes them remembered very differently, whether or not that's deserved.
Yeah. Another famous party in 1977, Eagleson and many players from the Pittsburgh, including Rick Kehoe, had a giant food fight where they threw plates and lamps and other fixtures around at the Pittsburgh Press Club. Eagleson had to cut a $10,000 USD check to make this one go away. There's no reason for it. It's because they wanted to.
That even count as a food fight if you're throwing lamps at the end of it?
Yeah, I feel like we've progressed past food fighting to just improvised melee weapon fighting.
We're going to smash this place up.
I think it's just like a small riot.
Yeah.
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 Because they thought it would be fun.
Eagleson used his wealth to purchase homes not just in Toronto and Collingwood, but also a villa in Florida in the exclusive La Coquille Club in Manalapan. Here, he was the neighbor of people like former Secretary of State General Alexander Haig, who is one of the worst people of the 20th century. Beland Honderich, maybe, publisher of the Toronto Star, Ralph Wilson, owner of the Buffalo Bills, and the parents of Chris Lang, the Secretary Treasurer of Hockey Canada. He had a second apartment at the St. Andrews Club in Delray Beach, where he owned it with Ross Johnson of Standard Brands. The condo at La Coquille Club had been paid in part by Lloyd Ludwig, whom Eagleson had helped get access to Toronto's varsity stadium for his Toronto Rifles football team. Ludwig ran a company called Full House, which was owned by Eagleson and Johnson, that worked on Florida and building condos. He paid the down payment for Eagleson's condo personally. And at the end of the day, when Ludwig decided he wanted to buy Bill Wirt's Fort Lauderdale condo, Eagleson negotiated an all-cash acceptable number with Bill Wirt's son, Rocky. So these guys are all interconnected. And like I said, I can't prove it, but these are the same, like Alexander Haig and Ralph Wilson. These are people who ran very much in the New York social circle with Roy Cohn. And it just makes a lot of sense that that Roy Cohn would be involved here. And again, like I said, if Eagleson had survived another 10 years, he almost certainly would have been in the Epstein files. There's no way he wouldn't have been with his power center in Florida with these people.
It's the same, like, I don't know, like the secret society of evil rich people is just never not a thing that's happening. It's just different permutations.
And like I said earlier, you can find his son, Trevor Allen. He's in the Panama Papers. You know, like these guys, they don't change. So yeah, that's kind of the story of the insurance and sort of Al Eagleson at the height of his powers in the 80s. We are going to end this one here. This is a little bit of a shorter one, but the next one is the one you've been waiting for. It is how Alan Eagleson loses his power.
Yay.
And what happens to him.
Oh boy.
So
It's about damn time.
Finally.
we're going to send you folks back to the main show and have a great one. All right, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that segment. But for now, this has been the Neutral Zone Hotel, written, produced, and hosted by us, the Neutral Zone Hotel crew. You can find out more at our website, neutralzonehotel.com, neutralzonehotel.com/Discord to join our Discord, hang out with us, chat, send annoying GIFs to us, whatever you want to do. We're on YouTube and Bluesky at Neutral Zone Hotel. And I think there's something else I'm supposed to add here, but I'm forgetting it. So we'll just say, we'll see you next week. Take care.